Oh, today, Nigerians are celebrating 64 years of independence anniversary. For over 6 decades, shall we say we are where we're supposed to be, or as a nation, or we are still struggling to meet up with the most of the developed country, whether Africans or Europe's. Tonight, we are going to have a different perspective on how our academic sector could be an aid or support to the most of our worries, such as building of a first-class road networking, improving on our electricity, and as well solving our economic challenges, also reforming our political system. Here with me tonight and live in our studio on Politics and Business Television in Abuja is an academician, a scholar, and a lecturer from University of Abuja, Dr. Lakunle Oluwaseun Ibrahim, PhD. Good evening, Doctor, and happy independence.
Good evening. I wish you and Nigerians the same.
Thank you very much. Doctor, we have today Nigerians, like I said earlier, Nigerians are celebrating 64. 6-4. We're talking about 6 decades. And as a country, there's this popular says, Nigerian giant of Africa, and yes, we are, no doubt about that. But are we really the giant of Africans in terms of some of these challenges? Yes, we can't dispute the fact that even in Europe and some of the African countries that we're looking up to also have their own difficulties and challenges. But you as an academician, a scholar, what could you say is a problem? And what, as a country of 64 years today, independently, should have done better than what we are in?
Thank you. Let me start by saying I congratulate all Nigerians because today Nigeria is 64 years. But if we are to look at it critically, you said Nigeria is seen or referred to as the giant of Africa. The meaning of being a giant within this continent may vary. We may be giant in terms of population,
Okay.
but what is the benefit of that population? We could be giant in that aspect. We could be giant in terms of being the largest economy in Africa. But how effective and how efficient is the economy? What has been our gains? What has been our loss as a country? When you look at Nigeria as a country, we have totally neglected the educational institution. We have completely, I can say it, that we have neglected our educational institutions, because you said we should tell you the role of the academia. At the mention of the word academia, you are talking about a community or an environment that is concerned with research, scholarship, and education. And when you look at research, for instance, research means you are researching. To research. Most of our problems are known, but the patterns at which these problems occur differ because the society keeps progressing every day. How people were behaving in the 70s was completely different from how people behaved in the 60s. How people behaved in the 50s is different from how people behaved in the 40s, 2000s, or let me just say this generation. The major role the academia play is to build what we call human capital development. And human capital development encompasses skills, innovations, inventions, you know. I said it a few minutes ago that, look, the academia strictly has to do with what? Research, scholarship, and education. How far have we gone? These things can only happen if our educational institutions are what they should be.
Okay, Doctor, thank you. Going further, I know you've been in this system of lecturing for years. You've seen challenges, before you rise to the cadre of being a PhD. We are all Nigerians, we know it's not an easy task to rise to the level of PhD. You've seen a lot of experiences. Yes, I have an opinion or belief that, to grow this country further, we need your sector. Do you agree with me?
Of course, 100.
Okay, fine. Yes, you've said human capital development, under that we have skills and innovations, and academicians are known for research. We have a lot of what makes a nation to be a nation. We're talking about first-class road network. We're talking about good and health care system.
Infrastructural development.
Generally. We're talking about good health
care delivery.
We're talking about electricity. Yeah. How, as an academician and a scholar, how do you think government should bring the academicians on board to solve these challenges you're facing?
Thank you. We have 5 basic social institutions: the family, education, religion, political, and economy. These are the institutions that build every society of the world. There is no society of the world that can progress, that can develop, that can grow, if they are complacent about managing these social institutions. In educational institution, ours is to train. Yours is to consult us and seek for knowledge.
And is that happening at the moment?
It is, but not really.
Okay.
Let me put this to you right now. For example, you want to construct a road, right?
Yeah.
Most times, the government don't even carry along those who have the basic knowledge, not even the basic knowledge, deep knowledge of some of these things. And it is because of lack of patriotism. And many Nigerians believe so much in the inferiority of our own skills that we have acquired here. Why must you bring engineers from Europe? Why must you bring engineers from America? Why must you bring engineers from India? What happened to the ones that are trained? Are you trying to tell me the ones that we have trained are not up to task? Why are first-class graduates roaming about the streets in Nigeria? This I can tell you categorically that it is what I've seen. If you don't consult them, if you don't tell them you need their service, they can never be useful to you. Because most times, when these people finish from school, especially young Nigerians that are capable, that are willing, they cannot. Why? Because there is no room or there is no space that is created for them to excel. They were trained by senior foremost professors, PhD holders, best of the best. And these teachers have in turn given these students the best. When they graduate and they have no template to showcase their talents, there is nothing you can do. So the government needs to take the educational institution very serious. If we really want to, because most of the problems of the world are solved through research. You have to look for what you don't know. You have to continue to seek for knowledge. It is from there you bring in innovations and inventions. The ones you have done that is bad, you continue to look for alternatives that will make it better. The ones that you feel you need to bring on board, you need to do it. Our professors, PhD holders are everywhere. The knowledge they have cannot be used.
Okay, a doctor, you know, there is this a popular saying is that if you want to give me a cloth to wear, I'll first look at what you're putting on.
Yeah.
If you say the government should prioritize our institutions, maybe, do you think maybe what government has seen from their own perspective, like, no, our federal institution cannot give us what we want? Is it that maybe should we say the institutions are not capable of solving our problems, or the government just decided to do what they are doing by neglecting the institution?
This thing is a systemic problem.
Okay, how?
For example, let's say you have a university, and you as a government, you know how you have undermined the potential of that university. You are studying engineering, you are not doing practicals.
Whose fault is that?
It's the government.
How?
Because the students cannot provide those amenities for themselves. It is not possible. Let me tell you something. If you want to train people that will be up to task, you must create an enabling environment for them to succeed.
Okay.
It is one of the reasons you see the government building hospitals, but they don't allow the doctors and the nurses that they trained here inject them because they don't trust them. It is like that. Because politically, they have used political power. Even to become a VC in a university now is politics. So when you compromise competence and go for favoritism, nepotism, what do you expect? But the role of the academia in nation building is very important.
That's just remind me of something. Of recent, this current government, federal government, I'm talking about federal government, released some names on boards on various institutions, universities, federal universities, and to our surprise, most of these names are politicians. Most of these politicians wasn't even having the requirements to even govern a very critical sector. Do you see these as a good development or a setback?
No. It's always a setback, and it has always been a setback.
Was it like this in the yesterday?
No. You know, in Nigeria, things keep getting worse. What will happen this year? What happened last year? You always have every reason as a Nigerian to say, oh, last year was better than this year.
Wow.
It has always been like that. You are constituting, I don't have problem about the names or whatsoever, because being a member of a governing council is more or less like an administrative or a managerial.
But they also have one or two things to make the institution move further.
Yes. They are more or less like the, how will I put it? The beginning and the end of every institution. Governing councils.
Okay.
They are the ones in charge. But Nigerian politicians should leave universities for those who are supposed to manage universities.
And who are those people?
We have professors that are capable. Let me tell you something about appointment of all these boards, ministerial. It's always reward for loyalty. Do you understand?
And a critical sector of such.
It has always been like that. Until we continue to change the narratives. Then you see the academia can do a lot. But as we speak, the Nigerian situation will only allow them to do the minimum. Because even when they speak, their voices are not heard. Universities in Nigeria now are becoming what I cannot describe. And when you have professors that are not able to discharge, not that most of them are ready to work, I can tell you.
Most of who?
The professors in the higher institutions, doctors, they are ready to work. Imagine you are a professor, you are sitting in the office, there is no power supply.
But, doctor, let me ask you this question. You've been in this, this field for years now. Are there any time point that, irrespective of where the university is, maybe ABU, BUK, University of Abuja, all these professors, all these doctors have come together to like, look, we don't want what this government is doing. I'm not talking particularly about this government, because the problem we are facing today that is facing us, rather, did not start today. It has been there yesterday, and like that. Have you ever in one time come together and say, let's write or cry to the government that, see, let's operate this, because this is a very critical sector. This is where we produce what is going to represent our nation, because we produce medical doctor from here, we produce engineers from here, we produce mechanics from here, and these are people that are going to represent us. We need quality. So tell me, or tell us in general, has there been a time where these professors and doctors have come together and say that this is what they want?
There is no time they don't do it. And that is why you have Academic Staff Union of Universities.
That's
ASU. You see, most of the development you see in Nigerian universities today is a product of ASU struggle. A very beautiful example is State Fund.
You mean ASU runs these projects?
No, they don't run it. But when you fight for something and the government listens that, okay, based on your agitation, we'll start to do this. There is no university you go to in Nigeria today, possibly except private universities, that you will not see State Fund projects. It is a product of ASU struggle. Professors don't keep quiet. People in academia don't keep quiet. But politicians have been able to infiltrate the academia.
But there's politics in your house as well.
Yes, of course. Politics is played everywhere, even in your own immediate family. By the time you begin to take decision and you throw it to the table that, what do you think about this? What do you think? You. It's all about decision making. But there are politics that are constructive, some are destructive. ASU is a pressure group that has been fighting for the betterment of Nigerian universities for years. Not even during democratic governance, even during military government. ASU was always at the forefront. They've always maintained that, look, Nigerian universities must be better. Look at what we have as universities today. I can tell you categorically that Nigeria is producing graduates that they don't need.
How?
Fine. It is only in Nigeria that we have seen it that everybody must be in the university.
Okay.
No. I've always said this. This is my own stance. I don't know about others. There are Nigerian youths that can do better on other platforms. Education could be either formal or informal. The goal is to succeed. There are many Nigerian youths in the universities that does not have business being in the university.
And whose fault? Because I can remember while we were growing, we know there's these notions that always been, implanted in us that you must go to universities. You must go to university. And as a child then, or a student that just passing out from secondary school, then we're like, I just want to go to university. It's only when you've tried, numerous times and, your polytechnic is not, your university is not clicking. That's when you say, okay, we see polytechnic as a dumping, like maybe
ground.
A ground.
For those that are dull.
I'm sorry to use the word, yes, and that is how it is. And aside that, there's this, sentiment, if I'm to use the words, even outside the academics. Because by the time you finish, organization will tell you that we want BSc, we want HNG, or when they have these two qualifications, they say, okay, we pay you this, and we pay you that. Don't you think this is also contributing to part of our failure as a nation?
Nigeria's problem started when we focused more on credentialism.
Okay.
What do I mean by credentialism? The moment you see someone's name, Lakunle, Aruna, Chukwuemeka, O level, SSC, WAEC, NECO, JAMP, IGMB, BSc, MSc, PhD, HIV, just write all the qualifications. They say, yes. No. It was sometimes ago that the reality was that if you are highly educated, you will be highly placed.
And that is not working anymore.
No. Then there were more jobs, fewer graduates.
Okay.
But now we have millions of graduates, but fewer jobs. So how do you balance it? Which implies that Nigeria's problem has gone beyond just sending people to the four walls of the university. Do you understand?
Yes.
There are people that are doing well in other spheres of life. It's all about formal education. The only education that I feel is compulsory and necessary for every primary and secondary level. Okay. Yes. Even if you go to Europe and America, how many of their kids are in the university? Look at it. Yes, I know what I'm saying. But they are doing well. So it is high time we try to live with realities, rejig our curriculum. We have to, most of the things we teach now are no longer needed.
Now the world is on the AI level.
Even artificial intelligence is a product of human intelligence.
How?
Fine. Whatever artificial intelligence brings to you must have been documented somewhere. I can tell you this.
Okay.
So, if you are to build natural intelligence, you have to be very critical in your thinking. And that is what we train in the university. We don't train people who will tell computer to write something for them. Don't you understand? In fact, as I speak with you, critical thinking should be made. I feel if NUC is listening to this, critical thinking should be introduced as a course, a compulsory course for every Nigerian graduate.
At what level? Should we start
from year one?
You mean you should start from university or even at the primary?
No. You see, let me tell you something. Catch them young.
Okay.
Especially from secondary school. Teach critical thinking. In polytechnics, teach critical thinking. In colleges of education, teach critical thinking. Universities, teach critical thinking. Because it is only when you are critical in your thinking that you can innovate and invent. If you are not critical, you cannot do anything.
Of course.
So, imagine you have graduates now, or students. A student doesn't even want to write tests. A student prefers assignments. Just type on artificial intelligence and print it. But that is not what academics is known for. If I've given you an assignment, you should be able to give me references of the books you have consulted. It's always empirical. Sure. For example, I said sometimes ago, there were more jobs, but fewer educated persons.
I'll definitely come back to that, Doctor. Allow me to just, to buttress that particular point of yours. To me, I don't know how you see it. The rate in which our government today are creating more universities, do you think that is what we need at the moment?
It's absolute nonsense.
Okay.
Yes. Creating universities every day, is absolute nonsense in Nigeria.
Then what should be the alternative?
What happened to the ones you have? Are you trying to tell me that about more than 50 universities that we have in Nigeria cannot serve Nigeria? What is that thing that we are teaching that we cannot manage those? The ones we have are not even up to task. And you continue to create universities. Most of the universities, especially the ones that belongs to the government, you just see one House of Rep member or senator will just move a motion. he or she wants to score political card in his or her constituency and just say a bill to establish so.
And that's not what we need at the moment.
That's not what we need. We have University of Transportation in Daura. How many railway have they invented? How many CNG buses have they built? How many electric motorcycles have they built? So what is transport about it? University of this, university of this, university of that. Is that time we stop all this nonsense? Proliferation of universities up and down. You are establishing universities, meanwhile the ones that are the existing ones are not. Go and look at the hostel the future leaders are living. It's more or less like prisons. We all went to the university, public university for that matter. Most Nigerian graduates are product of self-study and hard work because the facilities are not there. The teachers are trying. They do everything they do to give the student the best, but it is not encouraging. The students are learning in a very harsh environment. It doesn't work that way. There are universities when students write exams, there is no power supply. How do you cope? Too bad. The government should stop proliferating universities. It is not needed.
Okay, doctor, it's a very, nice and segment with you.
Thank you.
Going further, a nation definitely will be faced with a lot of challenges, and
Yes.
like we said earlier, and majorly the reason our center of discussion is how the academician can be of help in nation building. I have the opinion, and which I believe, that they have a lot of work to do. But in that sector that we're talking, that wants to build this nation, also have a lot of challenges.
Yes.
Will you identify and what is the way forward?
The challenges in Nigerian universities are enormous.
Okay.
The challenges are enormous. Recently, most federal universities have been complaining about electricity bill.
Electricity bill.
Imagine some universities paying to the tune of 300 million naira per month. Why don't the universities come up with solar systems? You have Department of Physics, you have all sorts of things. It's something they can do, but the facilities are not there.
How do you mean by the facility? We're talking about facility, doctor. We have students. Students are also part of the facility. Because, must we always wait? The federal government has already provided the environment. Maybe, I don't know how it works. Maybe it's every year budget, like, Nigerian Ministry of Education, we have so billion for your budgets. And which I believe the ministry will do justice to that. But we have this University of Abuja, so amount is going to them. And from the VC down to Dean and the rest like that. So if you say that, I think the school should also see, fine, let's create this thing ourselves. Like agriculture, we shouldn't be crying of scarcity of food. We have a lot of universities today that, we have land, green land, that they can say, this faculty of agriculture, go and produce this. It's going to be sort of even generating IGR for the institution. So you can't shift the blame on the government. Why shifting the blame on the government? Why can't you as a lecturer tell your student, this is a project we want you people to do. Go and do this. Let's test run it.
In terms of food production.
No, let's talk about the electricity first.
Okay. You have created the environment. The question is, how enabling is the environment that you have created? You have students, they are learners. They can only come in as apprentices, except the exceptional ones, because they are still in the process of learning. Right?
Okay.
The team leader may be a professor, a PhD holder, or an expert in that. If you want to build this mug, there are raw materials that you need.
Okay.
There are ingredients that you need. Who will provide them? The question is, if we are serious about nation building from the educational sector, we must equip our universities to standard.
Equipped.
Yes. You made mention of food production. There are faculty of agriculture in many universities in Nigeria that does not even have up to 3 tractors.
Whose fault is that?
It's the government.
How?
Yes, I will tell you. Universities
Because
are
I
not...
believe each universities and each faculties department have their budgets.
My brother, look at Nigeria's budgets entirely.
Okay.
How many percent do they use for spend on education? How many percent? And for several years, as you have been shouting, look, this budget is too low for education. After some universities pay salary, they have nothing. The budget most of them get is just salary. Some universities at some point were owing staff. If you cannot even pay salary, how do you equip yourself? We are joking with education, my brother. I cannot lie to you. We are joking with education in Nigeria.
Let's assume the government, the Minister of Education is watching at the moment.
Yes.
Yes, it is. What you've, okay, highlighted some of these challenges, even though you just mentioned maybe a few of it. What is the way forward? Because when we say this is what we are facing or what is facing us, we shouldn't stop at that point. Yes, we should be able to say, okay, this is the way forward. So now, you just mentioned of like lack of support from the government. You just mentioned like a food production, like mentioned of Faculty of Agriculture is hardly a Faculty of Agriculture boasts of 3 tractors. It's not only tractors now they use.
Yes, they need other equipment.
They need before this technology.
But before you go into serious farming, you must plow the land. You must clear.
Of course, before now, our forefathers do not use tractors.
Yes.
I'm not saying you should go back to that time, but for us to just government is going to do its own part. We too, we can also do our own part.
Sometimes ago, people were not into mechanized farming. But today, for example, take corn, popularly called maize. Every time, some faculty of agriculture come up with genetically modified seed because the population keep exploding.
Okay.
Therefore, food production must increase. It's just like the normal broiler. While we were growing up, there was nothing like it here. But because the population keep expanding, through research, that came in. All these genetically modified seed that you see today, they are helping. If not, there are periods that there will be no food in this country. Most of these things are generated from the lab. It is all these universities that are coming up with these things. When they come up with it, they look at people who are into subsistent agriculture. They look at other farmers. Come, let us give you this seed. Do it this way, it will yield this. You are building a nation. You are producing food.
I was told you are a doctor from Department of Sociology who talks about security and.
Yes.
Let's use your field as a case study here in the studio. We have issues of insecurity. You on your own part of even in Abuja here we have issues of insecurity. Yes. You on your own part and you have rise to the level of being a PhD, a doctor. What have you done, or what are you planning to do to see that you assist, or you assist the government in terms of the insecurity, whether now or in future?
My plan is to continue to sensitize Nigerians.
Sensitization?
Yes. The first thing is to communicate with the people. Yes, you have to communicate with the people. If you don't communicate with the people, you won't know. It goes beyond reading on the pages of newspaper. You have to carry out participant observation. Like 1 month ago, I was in my hometown.
Okay.
And I heard about 13 Fulanis were killed. I did my own little findings. I got what I needed to know. My brother, community policing is very essential.
Community policing.
It is very essential. The communities must be, that's my position about policing in Nigeria, and it's going to tackle crime. You see, some societies are homogeneous.
Okay.
People know themselves. Even as big as this area is, it's an estate, but people know themselves.
You're saying that, what I'm trying to say is that our insecurity challenges is local, and we have to apply local.
The major security issues in this country are local. They are domiciled within the people. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because there's a Yoruba adage that says, Tí ògiri ò bá lanu, aláǹgbá ò lè wọ̀.
Meaning?
It takes a lizard. Before a lizard will be able to penetrate the wall, there must have been a crack.
Okay.
Which implies that if your house is not in order, people will penetrate and infiltrate your society. The issue of security in Nigeria is already a social problem. Everybody's scared. No one is safe. You are traveling as a Christian, you have to continue to recite Psalm. Whether Psalm 20, Psalm 1 million, I don't know. You are a Muslim, you have to start reciting Ayatul Kursi just for you to get to where you are going to. And why? Most of our prayer points in this country is nothing but as a result of a failed system. Security issue is germane to the development of every nation. There is no nation on earth that can survive with massive security threats. It's never going to work. So what we need to do is to plead with the government, because nobody has monopoly of security better than the government. They have the facility. That of the society, general society at large, is for citizens to perform their duties. There are citizens' rights, there are citizens' duty. Nigerians should rise up, help the government. The government cannot do these things alone. We should start thinking about what we can do for our country rather than what our country can do for us. Because Nigerians are so concerned, or let me say most Nigerians are concerned with what the country should do for them, should do for them, not what they should do for the country. Patriotism must come at its peak. Report to the police. Outside that, some people also are willing to help the nation. But let me cite an example. During EndSARS, during the jailbreak, there was a prisoner that escaped from prison in Benin.
Okay.
And what happened? They immediately escaped. He went straight to the house of his principal witness, the person that stood in the law court that, yes, you killed someone. The first thing he did was to kill the person. Most people are ready to give information. They're scared because they don't believe in the system. They don't trust the system.
The system.
There is, yes, we have seen situations where security agencies collaborate with criminals. We have seen the arrests they've made. Soldiers have been arrested selling weapons to bandits. Police officers have been arrested extorting, killing. We need character reconfiguration in this country.
Okay.
Yes. Everybody should sit up. We don't have another country. I believe so much in Nigeria's projects, but I also have my own personal reservations for the country which I may not express. Because an average person on the street today, October 1st celebration has always been lousy, you know, people celebrate, people dance, people are happy, but now people are in pains. If we were doing something for 200 naira before, it's 1,000 now. How do you cope? We plead with President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to please.
But before you come to pleading, because yes, definitely that will be the next question I wanted to say. Like you've highlighted most of these challenges, right? From how as an academician could be of help and assist in nation building to grow most of these things that bring a nation, that will say this is a nation, this is a great nation, a good, a thriving economy, a good security, where people can work irrespective of the time,
Yeah.
and things like that, Now you've highlighted most of these challenges. We must also, like I said earlier, we must also give the government the way forward. And is there any time and place where the group of academicians have come together to say, okay, fine, this is what we've come out with, our research in this sector, in security, and you take it to the presidency? Has it ever happened before? Or are you planning?
Presidency is not a place where everybody can just walk into.
But we have professors that they have,
This is not what happens. That's not what happened. You see, TED Fund is an open platform for those in the academics to come up with research proposals.
Okay.
Issues. Ours is to do the research, come up with solutions.
But doctor, I could remember during the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, there was a confab. I think academicians were part of the confab.
They only represented their communities.
Oh, okay, you mean where they hail from,
Yes.
not the institution?
No. Confab was meant for, it was a national,
Yeah.
issue.
You mean during this confab, no any lecturers that represented the institution that is lecturing at that moment?
Some were lecturing. What I'm trying to tell you is that if I'm here, what you ask me to discuss is the role of the academia.
Yeah.
If you organize a confab, most of them represented their states. Issues that was affecting their state were issues they presented. Was there any column in the confab where they said, okay, this is education, let's talk about education? Was there anything like that? No. It was all political issues. There was nothing like, it was in 2014 or thereabouts.
Yes.
There was nothing like education. The only time the government talks about education is when ASU wants to go on strike.
And that's very bad.
And that's very bad. The only time they listen, you see, educational institution is not just about university. No. That's not what we are saying. Education itself strictly has to do with knowledge transmission.
Okay.
Yes, knowledge transmission. But ours is formal. We are the ones who call, you understand?
Yeah.
Ours is formal. So ours is more projected than every other type of education. But we are knowledge seekers. Even professors also seek for knowledge. Because things continue to change. Things continue to change. While some of us were growing up, we were using rubber plates. Now. So you continue to do research. When we do our research, like the TED Fund I'm talking about now, I have a principal researcher who is my boss, more or less like a mother. Our research is on gambling behavior.
Gambling behavior.
But if we do the research and we make recommendations and you don't use it, what do we do?
Talking about implementation.
Yes. When you make recommendations, it's left for the government to say, these people have done this, let us look at it. But they don't.
That's even, let me quickly touch this part. This morning we had a program about the speech of the president. He mentioned something of organizing another youth conference that is going to last for 30 days. And I was here in the studio, was talking about, well, we had something of such during the last administration. Under the
President Buhari.
Yes, and the Minister of Youth and Sport. Then we have a conference, and I can tell you categorically that I don't see any implementation. So I was saying that we have issues of implementation. Do you also agree on that opinion?
Yes. We have issues of implementation. Wait and let them constitute the list of those that will go for that conference. And
It's a youth conference. It's a youth conference.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Wait and see how they will constitute the list of youths that will participate in that conference.
Okay. What will happen?
Just wait. We'll come back here and make analysis about it. They won't give those that will look straight into their faces the chance.
You people are not going to the government. How do you want them? They cannot come.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you.
You have to go to them and like.
In academics, we are not beggars. Ours is to
No.
recommend.
No. You see, your contribution. No, you are not begging. You are not going to the government that please we need money. You are saying, see,
my brother,
our problems. I'm coming, doctor.
I'm here now.
You say
you are interviewing me.
Yes.
Am I not contributing?
You are.
You see, every teacher, every Nigerian university lecturer, your work cut across just three things.
Okay.
Teaching, research,
okay,
and community development.
Oh.
Yes. What I'm doing here is community development.
Sure.
Teaching is, you see, that's why when ASU goes on strike, they will tell you, we are working. The only thing we are not doing is we are not teaching. Because teaching is just one.
In the classroom.
Community development is there. Most of them go for INEC jobs. I'm here.
No, the INEC jobs, they've been paid for that.
No. It is still.
I have today most lecturers that will say.
It is still community development.
Today, most of the lecturers will say they want to go and do INEC job.
Okay, when you give a professor INEC job and you pay him 100,000, does that 100,000 commensurate with what he has done? 100,000? Yes, I'm challenging you now.
But why the lecturers, especially the professors and doctors, like they are fighting today that they want to do returning officers? I have lecturers that are calling that they want to do. One of my friends told me that the lecturer was telling him that he wants to do
any lecturers that does that does not have shame.
Why? Is it not part of the community?
No. Let me tell you, you shouldn't lobby for such thing.
Is that a lobby?
How can you be calling that they should please, you want to go and do returning officer? For what?
Maybe lobbying. Okay, that's exactly what I was saying now, doctor. That you people have to work to the government. Like, see, we have issues of lighting. We have issue of electricity rather in our in universities, institutions. Okay, we can generate these from solar. We have dam in our university. We have what's it called? Yes, we have dam. We can also generate from that. So you meeting the government does not mean that you're begging. It's part of what you should do, and which is going to assist and help our society as well.
There are two, what you just said now, there are two different things. Let me cite a critical example. When ASU was having issue with the federal government as regards to IPPIS, can you remember the number of times they tested UTAS? UTAS. Okay. The one ASU proposed. There is no amount of tests that thing underwent that did not pass better than IPPIS. Homegrown solutions. They rejected it. Relying on a foreign.
Maybe the government see that is not going to,
No. But then why is the government now saying they should remove universities, this one from IPPIS? Let me tell you something. We don't believe in the superiority of what we do. And it is because the government is scared because they have underdeveloped the universities. They feel those things coming from the universities are not up to task. I know what I'm saying. If an average senator or House of Rep member is sick today, do they take them to university teaching hospitals?
Most of them go to...
Where? Who? When you hear this one die, where would they tell you they die?
Teaching hospital, Garikio.
There, no. We have only one teaching hospital in Abuja, which is University of that teaching hospital. They won't come there. I know what I'm telling you. You see, until we begin to be patriotic, the problem of Nigeria is bad leadership and complacent followership. The leaders are messing up and the followers are also not trying. And every leader was once a follower.
Of course.
So it all depends on how you build yourself. I keep asking some students, I would be like, I am scared. Because in the next 10, 15 years, those who will find themselves in National Assembly, House of Assembly, Senate, are those who are making ridiculous money now.
Ridiculous money, how?
Yes, fine. Nigerian society is a society that attaches so much importance to the goal of affluence.
Okay.
But the means of achieving those goals is not there for an average Nigerian youth. Therefore, people have started deploying other means to make money. Yahoo, this one, that one. If you peg House of Representative form at 25 million, an average Nigerian cannot purchase it. An average Nigerian with good intention cannot afford to buy a phone for 25 million. Therefore, those who are privileged, and irrespective of the sources of their wealth, irrespective of how they built themselves, will have access to the political power.
Okay.
What do you expect?
Doctor, I think that would be another topic for another day.
Thank you.
Before we go, yes, you've enumerated a lot of challenges like that. In a very few minutes, in less than 2 minutes, we have just less than 3 minutes to round up this program. In less than 2 minutes, just give our leaders advice, call them, let them know that there are a lot of roles you people could play that will make this our nation a better one. Just in 2 minutes, just summarize.
To Nigerian leaders, our educational institutions plays a very vital role in the development of the nation. This is where people are built. This is where future leaders are built. This is where they acquire the basic knowledge that can transform, modify, and change the country at large. To follow us, let us believe so much in Nigeria. Even in as much as things are not going the way we want, we should keep the hope alive. We don't have any other country apart from Nigeria. Like I said, Nigeria's problem is the problem of bad leadership and complacent followership. So it takes two to tango. Therefore, leaders and followers must perform their duties. So the government should focus on the educational institutions for the country to move forward. They should. It is needed. Nigeria at 64, we congratulate the country, we congratulate the president. We are happy with Nigerians, we congratulate them. But the truth is, Nigerians are not happy.
Thank you very much, Doctor. We really appreciate your contributions.
Thank you.
And we can tell you that your contributions have huge impacts on how our nation, it's our nation, it's your nation, it's my nation, it's your nation, how our nation will definitely move further to meet up with the standard. Because we can't say, are we still developing, or we've developed?
We're developing.
Developing, fine. I know one day we are going to get there, and our nation, our country will be the real giant of an African that we have. Lastly, before I go and before we close this program, I strongly believe that academicians have a role to play, a huge role to play. We have issues of bad road network, we have issues of electricity, we have issues of insecurity, we have issues of food insecurity. We have universities that have products, we have professors, we have students. Our leaders, please, rush to this system, invite them, if it's going to take you to have a conference or confab, whatever you want to target with them, bring our best hands together. We don't need to rush to a foreign country before we build our nation. We have best medical doctors, we have best engineers that can fix our country, fix all the system, fix our political system and reform our political system, our health system and our road system. Once again, I wish Nigerian happy independence. 64 is a huge number. We're talking about over 6 decades today, and we are still moving. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and God bless every one of us. We are reaching out to you live in our studio here in Abuja. I have an Inside Politics with Shitu, where we're going to be discussing a lot of issues surrounding political atmosphere in our country. Thank you very much, and you're welcome, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.